Going to Kansas City. If I come, I come, I come.
Welcome everybody to the third episode of Choppin It Up with the Cleavers. My name is Emmanuel Cleaver III.
My name is Emil Cleaver.
And every Tuesday we drop a new episode. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, Choppin It Up with the Cleavers. Or you can check us out most places you get your podcast. Every Tuesday we drop a new episode. So glad that you're with us this week.
And hopefully one day we can have a live podcast, so we can have a live audience and you can ask questions live. We'll keep you informed when that's coming up.
It's coming soon. Coming soon. Pay attention. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can get all that information.
So what are we talking about today?
Jump into it. You brought it to my attention.
Oh, yeah. So, for those who haven't heard, Black Panther director Ryan Coogler.
Director of Creed, Fruitvale Station, all of those.
Black Panther's the big one, but yeah, he's done others. So, I'm sure some of you have heard this. He went into Bank of America to withdraw, I believe it was $15,000. Must be nice. So he's withdrawing $15,000, and the bank teller thought it was suspicious. So she went to the back. She called 911. The police show up. They draw their guns on him, handcuff him, take him outside. He has to explain who he is. So he goes through this whole ordeal. He posts it on social media. I don't know which one, but yeah, it became a big deal. I thought it was kind of crazy because he gave the lady his license, he gave her his bank card, and he gave her all the information she needed. And for some reason, she still felt the need to call the police.
Well, the one thing that he did wrong is he went into the bank as a black man.
Oh. Got
to dress up as something other than a black man. I mean, it's sad that even in 2022, things like this are happening. And of course, the police, they took it to the extreme, handcuffing him and doing all that. As I've said, I haven't said it on this podcast, but I've said it in many settings before. There is a long history, and I'm not telling you all anything new, a long history of tension between police and the black community. Goes back since the days of slavery. So what many people may not know is modern day policing was birthed out of the slave patrols. And what the slave patrols did, those were white men who had the responsibility.
Self-appointed. They gave themselves this. They were self-appointed. They had no real legal authority except the fact that they weren't slaves.
Well, they would capture any escaped slave. They would keep slaves in check. And policing, if you study the history, was birthed out of that. And so when you talk about the tension of the black community and the police department, I think we really have to explore those things because it goes back a long ways. Now, you have to talk about the cashier. What made her think, hey, I need to call the police, even though this man has given me ID and all the proper things? I guess she thought, okay, maybe he's stolen this. Did he have on a suit?
I don't think he had a suit on.
He did. I'm just saying, for a black man to go into a bank and asked for $15,000.
Yeah, she was suspicious. I mean, she probably had never seen too many black people come in there, withdrawing money. So
not money like that. I mean, Bank of America, there has to be plenty of black, maybe the branch, wherever he was. The bottom line is, of course, she handled it the wrong way. And I think the police, if they cuffed him,
they did cuff him.
I know. So
they cuffed him and he said, you drew your Glocks on me.
And there's no need for that. That's taking things to the extreme. I served.
The funny part was that he said, "Google me."
Yeah, I saw that. Well, it would maybe if they did, it would have ended right away to say, okay, yeah, this guy probably has $15,000.
Yeah, he's not like Spike Lee and all up in the in his movies, so people don't really recognize him. But still, I mean, he gave the lady his ID. What bank robber gives you their ID?
Well, it goes back to, Public Enemy, fear of a black planet. I mean, there's still this great fear of black men. I've said this, and maybe this might be controversial. I think when you look at American history, there's no group that's been more feared, more abused physically, one group that's been targeted more than black men. But at the same time, I have to say there's probably no group that's been oppressed or held back more than black women. So we're getting it. The men are getting it, and black women are getting it. It is racism, and this country seems to go
Why is that
hand in
controversial,
hand.
though? Why
Well,
is that?
I don't know. Some people might.
Yeah,
think
I don't think that's
controversial.
controversial. That's just the truth.
It is, and you see that in so many different areas. When some of the white women actresses, or I guess if you say actresses, that's redundant. Actresses were complaining about pay. And I remember what it was. Chris Rock said, "Well, look at what some of these black women are making. You wouldn't complain so much."
Yeah.
Not saying that white women shouldn't get what they have earned, because they should. But when you look at the socioeconomic totem pole, black people are.
We get it all the way
close to
around.
the bottom.
We get it all the way around. Don't you work with the police?
Here we go. No, so I was with the group, getting to the heart of the matter, where we were trying to mend the relationship between the Kansas City Police Department and the black community.
How's that going?
We took a lot of flack from black folks saying you can't work with them,
So
blah blah blah.
cool.
I know. So I mean, I don't let other people dictate what I do. But after working with the police department, in particular the police chief, there was just too many lies. I don't think that he was sincere. That's why Kansas City needs a new police department. Now, I am on a state commission, the Post Commission, Peace Officer Standard Training Commission, and we accredit police academies across the state of Missouri. And we, of course, voted a while back to have Lincoln University will be the first HBCU in the country to have a police academy. And the hope is to recruit. We need minorities. So it's hard getting minorities, especially black folk, to go into the police department because, a lot of times police are considered the bad guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, they need some more training. That's the number one thing. I mean, I think I sent you. Did I send you that police training video? Kansas City Police Department training video. I mean, in the video, they're doing a little basic calisthenics, and then the officer says, "Yeah, being like a police officer is like being like a professional athlete." They need to have training. If you go into a situation knowing every single time that this man or this woman can whoop you, of course you're gonna be quick to pull that gun. You're gonna be quick to pull out something. They need better training on how to subdue
de-escalation.
Yeah, subdue it first mentally, verbally, lyrically. You got to stop the situation.
Yeah.
But then if the situation escalates, you can't just resort straight to the gun, which is happening with a lot of these police officers because they don't want any physical confrontation.
Well, if you've seen some of them, I mean, they passed the first exam, physical exam, but after 10 years, some of them, hey, they shouldn't be on the streets.
Yeah, they should probably have a physical exam every 6 months. Yeah,
a lot
psychological.
in Kansas City Police Department and many police departments around the country, you have that initial psychological evaluation upon entrance, but you don't have another one unless you shoot someone or you're in the there's a shooting incident. So there's a lot of trauma that police officers deal with on the job, at home. So and because it's such a dangerous job for them and those that they're deemed to serve and protect, I think there has to be more psychological evaluation. Has to be
better training,
a regular thing. Yeah,
it has
training.
To be better
yes,
training. Yeah,
but
and I think if you had to, and now this is going to be controversial. You talking about what you saying going to be controversial? This is controversial.
Spit it out.
I think that straight up, I think only black officers should patrol black neighborhoods.
Well,
because
okay.
a lot of white officers, they've never seen a black person. They've never had close interaction with a black person. The first interaction they have is in the neighborhood, is in one of those situations that needs to be de-escalated. And all they know is, this is that black guy I've been hearing about all my life. This is that black guy in the newspaper. This is that black guy in the news. This is that black guy in the rap videos. I'm going to have to do everything right now to stop the situation. Black officers who are around other black people, they know. I mean, they're going to be a little bit more aware of the community. They're not going to be scared every time they see a black person. Yeah. Now, of course, there are some white people, some white officers that can do that, but they would need to prove that they are capable of really. Why
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're
prove
saying.
that they're capable of serving the black community. Like, you had to know black culture. Like, if you're a police officer between the ages of 35 and 50, who's Run DMC's DJ? If you don't know Run DMC's DJ, you can't. I mean, that's just one of the tests. Because if you were in that age group, you shouldn't, and you know a little bit about black culture.
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, who's the lead singer of Rolling Stones? You can name him.
Yeah.
So they should be able to name.
I did that one time. I was doing a training for a school talking about race, and I said, "Who on here can name? Tell me who Florida Evans was." Nobody. Except the black people on there. That there were 2 black people. Then I said, who can name, who knows who Marsha Brady is? And I said, you see, even the black people, we know who Marsha Brady is, but you don't know who Florida Evans is. And if you don't know who Florida Evans is, it just means you're not black. She's the mother on Good Times.
Well, you're not black at a certain age.
Right, yeah,
I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Matters the age.
But let me get back to, I think it's what you said. I understand the sentiment behind it, that folk who patrol or police in minority communities have to understand the culture. I think if you had, even for a short while, just black officers in black neighborhoods, even though it did happen like that years ago when the police department was segregated, I think you create some tension. You create more problems. Just to say white officers patrol white officers, Latinx patrol
No,
Latinx.
I'm not saying that. I mean, black people can patrol white people.
You say control or patrol?
Well, we know we can't control them,
Yeah,
but we should be able to patrol them. Like I said, we know who Mick Jagger is. We know we have to be successful in America. You have to know white culture to a certain extent. I mean, you can be successful and only know black culture, but you're only going to get so far. To have that next level, you have to know. You have to be well versed in culture, all cultures. Well, most black people, a lot of black people, they're not just going to see a white person and say, "Oh, that's somebody we need to shoot immediately," even though he has no gun. He just has some iced tea.
Well, yeah, and some Skittles. So I think, one thing that's happening in Missouri is every officer going through the academy, those that are accredited, they will have to go through a class called the History of Policing in the Black Community. That's something that we just put together a few months ago. So I think that's important. I think all police departments need that, the history, to understand black culture, because I think you do have to understand, at least to a certain degree, the people that you're supposed to serve and protect, that at least you're supposed to. I think, when you look at, we talked about the physicality of being an officer. I have a friend who's a police officer, and he says he thinks that every police officer ought to become at least a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
I agree with that.
At least a blue belt.
That's a
in
good
jiu-jitsu.
idea. You're a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. I mean, you're going to be a lot more confident in fighting. And jiu-jitsu, for those, is grappling. So it's not punching or hitting or anything like that. It's grappling. So, I mean, you know how to subdue even a bigger person with jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, I think that's a great idea.
Art. You could subdue them without even hurting them.
Right.
If you really know.
If you know it.
Jiu-jitsu. So, he says all officers, but of course that's not the case. Some of them, I'm sure you've seen videos, officers, and just it seems like a situation that can be handled, and the first thing they're reaching for their guns because they're scared. So the question is, why are all these officers scared? Can we Can we recruit some officers that aren't so scared all the time?
That's why they need to go through more training. I mean,
Right.
it's harder to become a cosmetologist than it is to become a police officer. You have to go through at least more training.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, so all the police officers are not, don't go through an accredited academy. So you get in some small town where the mayor says, I'm going to appoint my brother-in-law as the police chief, and has no training at all. And those small departments like that, they'll say, we don't have the money, so we can't train and all this. But, I mean, you would be careful going through some towns knowing that this person has little to no training as an officer. And, you know, it's just up to what they think. And that's what happens a lot of times, just what they think. But yes, you're right. We need more training in terms of cultural awareness for officers and de-escalation. Folks need to know how to talk people down.
Yeah.
To enter into the situation where you bring a sense of calm.
Yeah, we got to talk about this subject a little bit more and maybe bring in some experts to interview. But yeah, this topic could go on forever.
Yeah. So the other thing happened a few weeks ago, or at least I read about it, and that is a Catholic priest who baptized hundreds of people used the wrong word. So now the Catholic Church, he says, we baptize you in the name, and he was supposed to say, I baptize you.
So what happens to these people?
So now the Catholic Church is saying that those baptisms are invalid.
That's funny.
Hundreds. And there are some others. So now things are being reviewed. Some of those folk who found out about it, they're taking the steps to be baptized again or whatever. Others, I mean, I think I read one article where it says this is why people are leaving the church.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little ridiculous. I mean, I thought it was more of a symbolic thing than. You know, if you say the wrong words, then God, it doesn't count like that. That's really strange. I mean, this is one of the strangest things that I've heard about. I mean, as we grew up going to Catholic schools, and I always thought that it was a little scary. I mean, what it is? It was
scary. What part was scary?
Okay, remember when we used in those pictures? They used to have pictures in the church. I mean, those scary pictures of going to hell and burning and all that. The books that they had. I mean, they really trying to scare us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the Catholics are so strict. But I mean, they have some scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
They have some scary. Yeah, they'll scare you into doing right in Catholicism.
Well, if you look at Christianity, there are over 2 billion Christians worldwide, and more than half of them are Catholic. So the Catholic Church still has, making waves in terms of their influence in the church. But for those who aren't Catholic, that may seem a little strange or have no interaction with Catholicism. A lot of people who are Protestants, and Protestants, we're talking about folk who aren't Catholic, basically, and that's a simplistic definition.
And there's like 1,000 different Protestants.
Right. But there are some are skeptical of the Catholic Church, and they don't understand it. But yes, the Catholic Church is
I don't understand it.
With rule. Well, you went there Catholic school for 10 years.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess
you have to have some understanding of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that is. I mean, peep this out, people. We went to Catholic schools for 10 years, and if you go to a Catholic school, during the week you have to go to Mass.
Mass.
We went to Mass many, many times in this Catholic school, and not one time did they let us have communion.
You have to be a part of the church.
We went there for 10 years, to Catholic schools for 10 years. They never let us have some communion, ever.
Well, that's, some denominations are like that.
Nah.
Listen, some denominations are like that where they believe that you need to be a part of the church. Now, I don't believe that. I mean, it seems exclusionary, but I don't believe that.
Man, we had to pay tuition. Our parents paid tuition. We should at least be able to taste that grape juice.
They had real wine, man. That just shows you that you don't know.
Yeah.
In the Catholic Church, they
What?
had real
Because
wine.
they never let us participate.
Well, if you remember, it was Monsignor Bauer.
I mean, there was a couple of Monsignors.
Yeah, but they drank all the wine. They just gave the kids the wafers.
Yeah, well, I
And
mean,
the priest
for
drank
years
the
we
wine.
didn't
They
have.
killed it. Killed the wine.
Yeah, they did.
Killed
Man,
it. They filled it up to the rim.
They'd be mixing it. What did they mix it with?
Oh, I mean, it was like a clear,
And a
maybe
dark.
they watered it down. I don't know.
We never got any communion though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hold that against the Catholics. I mean, they do what they do. But you come to our church, it doesn't matter if you've been there the first time or been going there for 30 years. You can come get you some wafers.
It's open to all people. The way we look at it,
Man, that's how it's supposed to be. Isn't that what Jesus was talking about?
the way we look at it is, it's not my table to say who can and can't come.
Man, come on.
It's the Lord's
But I'm not
table.
on. Yeah, okay.
So, but it's not just the Catholic. There are other denominations that
won't let
allow,
you.
if you're not a member, if you're not a part of that denomination, and even
I was just watching the Heaven's Gate documentary. Heaven's Gate, that's a cult.
who's I don't know that.
Man, they were in the 90s, and he was like, man, the spaceship is going to come get us.
Who was it?
This
Talking about
Heaven's
the Branch
Gate.
Davidians? I don't
Nah,
remember
that's the
those.
name of them, Heaven's Gate.
I don't remember
Anyway,
them. It
when
was
you
one
talking
called-
about all that, man, you had to be a member to join. That's what it sounds like to participate. You had to be a member. Man, I don't
I
know
guess they
about
want to
that.
know if you're committed. I don't know. I don't know. Let me not speak. I know the Catholic Church does a lot of good things. A lot of things they do that I agree
I'm not
with.
saying they don't do good things,
some
man, but they don't
some
let you get
don't.
that bread.
So some they don't. And the whole baptism thing. I come from a tradition where we don't rebaptize because somebody might say, they messed it up or blah blah blah.
Rebaptize.
And so my thing is, well, it's God, what God did in baptism is final. It doesn't matter if you mess up. But he messed up the words. He said we instead of I, because the I is supposed to be Jesus doing the baptism. And
So it's one person?
Yeah, I as in
No, I'm
Jesus.
talking about it was one person that did this. There was a bunch of different priests.
Well, I read about one, the one that made news, and then there were some others. The guy who did like 800 baptisms that they discovered, he retired or resigned or whatever. But yeah, I was reading an article that said there may be some other.
He retired, or was he forced to leave?
Hey, I'm sure he was forced, but yeah, I just feel sorry for those people that are like, oh, my baptism's not valid.
You feel sorry that they believe that? What? I mean, if that was me, I'm like, man, whatever, man. I'm good, man. I'm good.
Catholic Church say we don't have you on record anymore. We scratched you off.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to. What, a record? Why do you have to be on record, man? Why do you have to be on record to be a Christian? Come on.
All right. So that was in the news, and I'm sure you all have a lot of thoughts. Let us know what you think about what we talked about, Ryan Coogler and the whole thing with police. And we're going to talk about police, have several episodes about the police and black community.
And the church. We need to get back on the church. We have to talk about the black church now.
Black church. Yeah, we'll have an episode. I mean, we'll talk about the black church and what the black church is doing, what the black church isn't doing, all of these things.
Why people are leaving the church and all of that. We may need to start having a longer podcast. But yeah, for now
We'll talk about it. People leave the church. There's a number of reasons.
Bunch of
A
them.
number of reasons. The list goes on and on. So it's hard to pinpoint. But I do want to talk about, at some point really dig into the black church, because I think, one, the black church gets a lot of unfair criticism. Some of the criticism is due, but
Yeah.
some of it is unfair. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Maybe we should bring some preachers on. Oh, I forgot. You is a preacher.
Yeah, I'm all the expert. I can drop the knowledge. But we can we're going to have some guests on in the future.
Real soon. Big guests.
So-
Big guests. Big names. Their names are real long, like 32
Long
letters.
names, like Johnny Francisco. So I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. But let's move on. So last week we listed the top comedies of all time, our favorite movie comedies. And so you all listed some things
that we left
that
out.
we left out.
That we didn't think of. I mean, Blazing Saddles. I mean, I know a lot of people.
That was
a lot of
good.
people like that.
The
Blazing
sheriff
Saddles.
is a ninja. The sheriff is a ninja. That was
Yeah,
Blazing Saddles classic.
when the sheriff was coming in town, first riding to town, that was probably one of the great scenes. So yeah, that was one of them. What was another?
Which Way Is Up?
Oh,
With
yeah.
Richard Pryor.
I did not. I thought I mentioned
You
Which
said
Way Is
the
Up.
toy. I don't know if you did.
I did mention Which Way Is Up. I don't think I named it, but I think I mentioned it. Yeah.
Where he played all the characters
Yeah.
and he showed his skill, his diversity. The preacher was hilarious. But yeah, Which Way Is Up?
Oh yeah, and then
Richard
a couple
Pryor.
people were talking saying about Queen Latifah and Steve Martin.
I haven't seen that one. I mean, I know the movie, but I
don't think I've
know
seen
about
that either.
It didn't look good. But
Maybe
I'll have to
check
check
it
it
out.
out.
Yeah, people
but
say
you know
it's
what?
funny
You know,
like that.
a movie that several people have said to me that we left out.
What's that?
Friday
Yeah.
with Ice Cube.
Yeah, people said Friday. And I'm going to tell you the truth about Friday. I thought Friday is a great movie, but it wasn't one of those movies that I was just laughing all the way through. I mean, it was entertaining, it was comical, but I don't know if I'll put it in my top 5. It's in my top 10 of all-time black movies. I mean, definitely.
No, it's one of my favorite movies. But in terms of comedy, I didn't laugh like that. It's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
laugh.
I've seen it 100 times, but just it wasn't as funny as those other movies I
It didn't
listed.
make me laugh like those movies.
What other movie did we miss? Any
That was
other
all of
movies?
them that we.
Blazing Saddles, Which Way Is Up, Friday. Okay. Nobody's mentioned Soul Plane to you.
Nah, I've never seen Soul Plane all the way
haven't
through.
either.
I've just seen bits and pieces.
I've not seen it either. I've seen like the beginning of it. I don't know what happens at the end. I couldn't watch all of it. I just couldn't. Didn't keep my attention.
Watching at the end, you want me to spoil it? I don't think I've seen it all the way through the end, but you want me to spoil it for you?
I don't care. They land the plane. I'm sure.
It doesn't crash.
Yeah, but I don't. I don't know what else happens in the movie. But so if we missed anything, let us know. So this week, since March Madness is in the air, the conference championships have already taken place, and we're looking at our favorite college teams of all time. So I know there are going to be some that you all are saying should be on the list, and let us know. Put it in the comments. Now, let me tell you about my list. Because on my list, I have teams that didn't win a championship, but I think were championship caliber. The thing about college basketball is,
It's not like the NBA.
not the best team doesn't always win. And I know for those who may not be into sports or basketball, like, what do you mean the best team doesn't always win? Because anybody can beat anybody on a given night. Case in point, when the Lakers played Allen Iverson and the Sixers in the NBA Finals, I forgot what year that was, the 76ers with Allen Iverson, we just showed his greatness because he didn't, to get his squad there.
With no scorers.
Man, he was the only scorer. Well, Andre Iguodala, but he wasn't really a scorer. But the 76ers won game 1. If it was just one and done, they would have been the champions. But it's a series because anyone can win on any given night. So the Lakers then, of course, won the next 4. So when I say college basketball, the best team doesn't always win because it's only one game. So having said that, I'm naming some tough teams. To me,
let me go first this time.
Go ahead. Go first.
My number one team of all time. Well, we can't count this team, but my number one team is that Philander Smith team. That Philander Smith, me, you, Travis Page, Ben Suber, all them. Well, Ben wasn't on that team. He graduated. Yeah, Travis Page, Darren Self, rest in peace. Andre, Jill. So that was my favorite basketball team of all time. College.
Favorite
team. Yeah. The greatest. One of the greatest teams you never heard of and you never Will.
Never heard of that.
All right. So my top 5, I got to pull this out. My top 5 changed, and again, I'm gonna start with number 5. Number 5, I changed it. When we were talking earlier, I had that Oklahoma team with that was storming with Norman,
Mookie Blaylock, Stacey King, yeah.
So I'm gonna replace them. I'm gonna go ahead and put that LSU team with Chris Jackson and Shaq, and then they had the other big man. Slips me right now. But I'll put them in number 5 just because Chris Jackson was probably my favorite all-time college basketball player. He was
that list is coming soon. Favorite college basketball player of all time.
Well, I guess I just told you mine.
Yeah,
so
but you got
that's
4 more.
LSU team. Chris Jackson, Shaquille O'Neal. I got to put my glasses on to see. All right, so number 4, even though they never won it, I got to give it to the Fab Five. I mean, they were a legendary team. They kind of changed the face of NCAA basketball, the way that Iverson changed the culture in the NBA. Fab Five, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose,
Jimmy King.
Yeah, they had
Howard.
the team. Juwan Howard. You know, Juwan just got in that trouble. Just punched that dude in the face. What did they do with him? Did they suspend Juwan or what?
Yeah, he was suspended. I don't know for how many games. I don't know if he gets to come back for the tournament. I don't know. But he was suspended.
All right, so my number 3 team is KU. That Cinderella KU team. Danny Manning and the
Miracles,
the unforgettable, whatever.
Danny Manning and the Miracles.
He just took them all the way. What was that? 88.
88.
Yeah, we were
here in Kansas City.
Here in Kansas City. Went to that Final Four. That's my number 3 team. Even though I'm not a big KU fan, I know people are gonna be mad. I don't care. I'm not a KU fan. Number 2, Georgetown with Patrick Ewing.
84 team.
Big Patrick Ewing fan.
David Wingate, Reggie Williams.
Big Patrick Ewing fan when they played for the Knicks. I've always been a Pat Ewing fan. Plus, of course, the Coach Thompson, the legendary.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah, rest in peace. Number 1 favorite team of all time, UNLV. Larry Johnson. Stacey Augmon. I mean,
Anderson,
the running Rebels.
Greg Anthony, George Ackles.
Was a great team. They should have won it 2 years in a row, and some people think that they threw it. Some people think that they threw that
controversy.
Game.
Yeah, that they got
paid.
Beat
them.
Yeah,
that second year because they won every single game except the last game of the year. So, but that was
91 when they lost. Yeah.
That's number 1.
That was a tough team.
Tough team. Great team.
So, my list is similar. So I'm going to start with number 5, that 88 Oklahoma Sooners team. Mookie Blaylock, who's probably my favorite college player of all time. He led the NCAA in steals. He was a rip leader, rip king.
He picky clean.
Yeah. So Stacey King, he was unstoppable. In college.
He was awkward, man, but he was unstoppable.
He was.
Man.
But the dude could not be stopped. And they had a tough team. They won the big, it was the Big 8 then.
Yeah, Big 8.
And then lost to KU. So that was one of those times I thought, Oklahoma was.
They were definitely, I think Oklahoma had beaten them twice that year.
They
were definitely the better team.
They just lost in the championship.
Strategy that night.
They did it. So I have to put that Oklahoma team. Number 4, I think I'll put that Kentucky team, 95-96, where they won the championship with Antoine Walker, Tony Delk, Derek Anderson, Ron Mercer. Rick Pitino was the coach. So they had NBA talent all on that team. So that was a tough team. Number 3, I got a tie. So number 3, I'm going to put that 96-97 KU team. They didn't win the championship.
Yeah, they should have. Was that the team with Jock Vaughn?
And Paul Pierce and Scott Pollard and Ray Prince.
That was the greatest team that ever won a college championship. There is no way
that was a squad.
Man.
They were tough.
Lost it.
Tough team under Roy Williams. So that was a good squad. They didn't win a championship, but it's still one of the best college teams of all time. What am I? Number 2. So
no, you said you had 3 at number 3. So what you said? You had somebody else at number 3.
Yeah. So number 3 also I put the Fab Five.
Yeah.
Jimmy King, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Chris Webber, Ray Jackson.
Changed the culture.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and just to have 5 superstars coming out of high school on the same team, couldn't get it done, but at least 3 of them had big NBA careers, very good NBA careers. Number two is that Georgetown Hoya team, 84 with Ewing, Wingate, Reggie Williams. Big John as the coach. They were tough. They intimidated folk.
Man.
Folk were scared of them.
Man, that was a good team, man.
And then, of course, they could have won it that next
year.
year.
Yeah.
They lost to Villanova. And Raleigh
Upset.
Massimino, who was the coach of Villanova, he even said, if we played Georgetown 100 times, they would win 99 times. Good thing is we won that one time it counted. That's just college basketball, but that was one of the best teams of all time. Number 1, talked about it, been mentioned, that UNLV team. That team was something to behold.
Great team, man.
They had no weaknesses. They were defensive. They could rebound.
They could
fast
shoot.
break.
What was that shooter? Anderson
Hunt, or not Anderson Hunt. What was his name? It was Anderson.
Yeah.
Something Anderson.
It may have been Anderson Hunt. I don't know, but
Yeah. So, and he had Greg Anthony running the point, and he was tough in college. I mean, he played hard his years with the Knicks, but in college, man, Greg Anthony was a defensive specialist.
he was a
and
defensive specialist in the NBA. That's why he was in the NBA for so long.
But he ran that offense, and Stacey Augmon was the one who was Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And they called him Elastic Man because just how
His long
flexible
arms,
he
man.
was. And of course, Larry Johnson was the best college player, arguably the best college player.
Yeah, it was Anderson Hunt.
Yeah, Anderson Hunt. So that was a tough team. George Ackles, I think, was the center for that UNLV team, if I remember his name. So that's favorite college teams of all time. Let us know what you think. I know you have some out there. Some of you younger folk might have some newer teams. I thought about that team, Syracuse, that won with Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah,
but I
that
like
was a
that
good team.
Syracuse team that alley-oop with Ron Cycli, Derek Coleman.
Yeah, they never won, but
Yeah.
they were tough.
Yeah, I mean it was there. So there were some good teams that, you know.
Derek Coleman could have been one of the greatest players of all time. I'll never stop saying that.
But what?
In the NBA, man, he couldn't get it together in the NBA. I mean, he was unstoppable. What couldn't he do? Derek Coleman could do everything. He could shoot in the outside.
Yeah,
he could play
dribble.
defense. He could post you up. I mean, there was nothing he couldn't
go
do.
to the right or left.
Yeah, he had that. I don't think he got along with his coaches and things like that. I think. But yeah. Anyway, but that was a great team, Syracuse team.
So
Next week we need to do favorite college players since March Madness will still be going on.
yeah, so next week we'll do our favorite college players. So let us know about your favorite college team. I know some of you are going to name just the teams that you like, Ohio State or KU, whatever you like. But no, we want specific teams. So put that in the comment section on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chopping It Up with the Cleavers. New episode every Tuesday.
And be looking out. We'll have merchandise coming soon. We'll have some T-shirts and we'll have a live event. Be looking out for our live event. Limited seats, but it's going to be coming soon.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
Peace.
I'm of the modest, here I am. I come, it's where I'm from, yeah. I said I'm going to Kansas City.